welcome to Alphabetcha Didn't. I'm Stewie.
And I'm KB.
And this is the podcast where we talk about whatever stuff we want to talk about and enlighten you, but in alphabetical order. Today's letter being A.
It's a great letter.
It's the first one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet you didn't know that.
I mean, I did.
Okay. Well, if you didn't know that, I'll bet you didn't know our guest this week is Jordan Eisel. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jordan.
Hi, I'm dating Stewie.
That's me.
Yeah.
Evidence that geeks can get girls.
No way.
Way.
How much are we paying here? All right. So each week, to introduce our guest, we'll have a random question of the week. What's the random question of the week this week, Stewie?
The random question of the week this week, Kevin, KB, whatever, is, what do you think your Patronus would be in the Harry Potter universe?
An otter, kind of like Hermione, but not because Hermione, even though I identify highly with her. It's because, otters are super playful and loving, and I, really love that I'm playful, but they're also really intelligent. They fucking use rocks to crack open oysters. That's awesome.
That's great.
And they hold hands when they fall asleep so they don't float away from each other.
Oh.
So, yeah.
And you are good at swimming.
And I'm good at swimming.
There we go. Yes. Way to bring in a very surface level
Yeah.
observation there. All right.
That's what I'm here for.
Stewie, let's go around. What's your Patronus? We can't just leave the guys hanging.
No, yeah. I was going to say you answer next, but I guess I'll go. I'd say mine would be probably a monkey. I'm guessing one of those long-tailed monkeys.
Your zodiac sign?
Yeah, I mean, it's my zodiac sign. They're also kind of playful/pranksters. I've been known to fling poo around.
What?
Not really.
That's disgusting.
Gross.
But they're just relaxing in the trees and eat a good banana now and then.
Wow.
Yeah. And I can imagine them in a fight. I'd have my monkey go around, wrapping Dementors with my tail, flinging it into other Dementors, clawing their eyes out, giving a screech.
Good answer.
Yeah.
A highly evolved answer. Right there.
Ah.
That's great. Yes. I don't remember anything from human origins, but monkeys are a part of the chain.
Yeah, it was a solid joke.
Primates.
Don't try to deconstruct it.
That's what I do. You can add surface level things and I'll deconstruct.
Alright. Well, what's your
yeah.
Patronus?
Mine would have to be a falcon of some sort.
Ooh, good choice.
Or a hawk. I don't know. Something fierce with talons.
Is that because of the tattoo, or?
Yeah. So radio is an excellent medium where you can't tell that I have a tattoo.
Hey, listeners,
of a falcon.
look at KB's tattoo.
I have been told I have a great face for radio.
I can see it.
I mean, it's true.
The point is that our listeners don't have to see it, Jordan. But falcons, they can see a long ways off, and I like to think that I'm a big picture kind of person. So I like to see far off into the distance and far off into the future. Birds of prey can be both solitary and familial. So sometimes I can be introspective and a real loner, and other times I'm looking for companionship. Moments like this. Sitting around the microphone with my companions, recording a podcast. Which brings us back to the letter of the day, which is
A.
I forgot that that's how you start the alphabet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're Greek, alpha, but we'll not get into that. So, today, the letter A in our topics, Aquaman, the Avengers, and action movies.
Tonight, he's gonna get it right. Even losers can get lucky sometimes. All the freaks go on a winning streak. In a perfect world, all the geeks get the girls.
They're all tying together really nicely.
Yeah, they're kind of all same umbrella.
Maybe we'll have some good segues then.
I hope so. Segways are fantastic. We should ride segways on the show. Listeners, For those of you
Once
that
again.
can't see us, we are actually recording this while riding Segways. It's dangerous. I would definitely recommend it.
Segway was actually bought out by their Chinese competitor last week.
What?
BBC American News app. Get it.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
This is informative. Listeners, we are telling you where to get your news.
Yeah, BBC.
I mean, Segway is one of those genericized names like Kleenex and
Jacuzzi.
yeah, where those
Yeah,
are
it's
actually
hot,
name brands, but
You
they're
use
just called.
Kleenex to describe all facial tissue?
Most people do, Kevin.
They do.
That's absurd. Are you also the kind of person that says Coke to describe all soda?
No, that's different.
That's the South.
It's just the same thing. It's a name brand. Kleenex is a...
No, a lot of people do
Yeah,
that with
this-
jacuzzis, though. They're like, oh, it's a jacuzzi.
We'll get
I say
to
hot tub.
those.
Okay. You know what
Letter
else is a
K.
name brand? Detective Comics.
Ah.
From
Segway.
which...
Very smooth.
Segway. From which Aquaman came. Aquaman first appeared in 1941, which was a great time for comics because we were in a war.
A war?
Which one?
World War II.
Oh,
Yeah, 1940s.
You
Right.
can't be sassy?
You can be sassy.
You can be sassy.
Be sassy. Invent your radio personality.
Like the cat sassy or like sassy?
Like the
Reference missed.
Both.
Okay.
You missed the reference. Hopefully our listeners won't.
Aristocats?
Homeward
No.
Bound.
Oh, yeah, I was
Come
wrong.
on.
Homeward Bound? Sorry, I wasn't paying
So
attention.
1941, World War II is going on. German U-boats are terrorizing the seas. And this is, the dawn of heroes has already happened. Detective Comics have been around for a little bit. You have heroes like Superman and Batman.
My favorite. Batman, not Superman.
Obviously, I hope listeners on a nerd site like this are well aware of the backstory and powers surrounding those heroes, so we don't have to go into that.
I'm wearing a Batman shirt for all you visual learners out there. Anyways, continue.
We're gonna have to stop making visual references. And there are several different origin stories around Aquaman. What I find interesting, first off, about Aquaman is that his initial power set is not all that powerful.
Well, that's because Aquaman sucks, right, Kevin?
No, Brian. Aquaman certainly does not suck, and here are a few reasons why Aquaman does not suck. Despite the fact that Aquaman has pretty much become, I don't know, the generic laughingstock of geeks who are like, ha ha ha, it's better than Aquaman. Aquaman, first of all, became King of Atlantis, was at one time the leader of the Justice League of America, albeit it was...
What?
Right. Albeit it was when the other major heroes were indisposed, but screw them, because after he disbanded the Justice League and reformed it, he made the major heroes sign contracts and said they wouldn't go off to frickin' Mars when they were needed here. Thank you, Aquaman.
Good job.
He was also acting chairman of the United Nations. The United Nations!
What?
Right? Yeah.
The Nations United.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it's if we go back to Aquaman's origins in the middle of World War II, what we needed after World War II was an organization that would prevent global conflict. We had the League of Nations after World War I,
Which failed
which
miserably.
sucked. Sorry, Woodrow Wilson, but
It was a valiant effort. He laid the groundwork for the future, Ewan. Although, really, apparently Aquaman's behind it all, and
yeah,
that's just...
not behind it all, but at one point he was on top of it all. He also worked for NATO.
Okay.
And this all ties in because originally Aquaman's purpose to the readership was to combat the German threat. The great thing about having water powers was it made him really useful against German submarines, against the U-boats.
Makes sense.
So initially he may have seemed underpowered, but it laid the groundwork. There's no aquatic term for groundwork. He
Waterworks.
He found waterworks.
He laid the waterworks.
He laid the waterworks.
Aqueduct. I don't know.
Aqueduct. He built the canal of superpowers.
He had a wave of effect.
Oh. Snap! We can't get into
Aquatic puns.
Aquatic puns.
H2 go away.
I'm gonna sink here. You either sink or swim in aquatic puns.
There's a boatload of them.
Oh snap! But what's great about
Heavy sigh from Jordan.
What's great about Aquaman in the golden age of comics is that you didn't need to be overpowered the way that heroes are today, the way we see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and upcoming Batman and Superman. I'm sure will just be fan service of ginormous. Everything is a huge explosion, and the stakes are universal.
I mean, Man of Steel basically leveled Metropolis.
Right.
Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
The stakes are impossibly high, and the stakes were really high in World War II. But you didn't have to be a god. You just had to be heroic, which is why Aquaman had fantastic powers like communication with. First, it started off with communication with aquatic life, and then the character developed in such a way that Aquaman now has general telepathy because he has mild control over any being that evolved from aquatic life.
Which
that
is
telepathy or
all
telekinesis?
beings. Telepathy. He can speak in their minds.
You were saying he had like control over them, and that made me think telekinesis. That's why I asked.
Telepathy, you can control someone. You're just like, hey, do this. It's like Matt Parkman from Heroes.
Okay.
Well,
telekinesis is moving objects with your mind.
As far as moving objects go, Aquaman's chief weapon famously is the Trident, which allows him to control the sea. He can create huge tidal waves and whirlpools and other fantastic things. At one point, his hand was replaced with friggin' harpoon, a la Bruce Campbell and the Evil Dead, replacing his hand with a chainsaw.
Oh God.
But I want to ask you guys, Stewie and Jordan, why you think we need the stakes to be so big? At one point, heroes just worked on the normal people level. Fighting German U-boats and
I'd say
taking down crime in the streets.
The reason that heroes became kind of godly at this point in time is because there was a new issue every week, and after 70 years of comics, they have to up the stakes, but the hero always has to win, so their powers have to up with the stakes.
The hero doesn't always have to win, but...
I mean, that's true, but heroes, when they die, don't stay dead very long.
There's a quote from Kurt Vonnegut, and I think this applies, like, immensely, but it's, but because we grew up surrounded by big dramatic story arcs in books and movies, we think our lives are supposed to be filled with huge ups and downs, so people pretend there's drama where there is none. I think that explains everything to me, because people are like, oh, these movies, oh, these great big things, and so they're trying to one-up what they used to have, and that's why it's come to this extreme. Like, we have to level an entire city to make a freaking movie.
Yeah. The great thing about that Vonnegut quote is that it talks about us on a personal level too. Mm-hmm. We feel like we have to level up our own lives and create our own drama because we're surrounded by these comics and hero films and action movies.
What?
Maybe we'll talk about those later.
Where the stakes are so impossibly high that we think the stakes in our own life have to be really high too, and that leads to a malaise and maybe even depression when our lives aren't that action packed.
Depression rates are higher now than they've been ever. So.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
Wow, guys, we've really hit rock bottom. Let's try and lighten things up a bit.
All right. Okay. So Aquaman...
Listeners, be depressed. Life is worthless.
Ouch.
That's rough. You probably won't hear our hosts get this dark. That's not true, right? Explore the depths of the ocean. In fact, Aquaman is now pretty much invincible because he had to adapt to withstand incredible depths in the ocean. The pressure is immense, so now he can withstand physical blows and bullets because
Because
I mean,
he trained himself up.
that kind of evolution of his power makes sense to me because it's more scientific.
Then
Like,
just like, oh, he's
They're kind of
invincible.
justifying, oh, he's underwater that
he
deep.
has to withstand the depths,
Yeah.
so of course he can withstand other things, which is pretty crazy. And, it's really interesting that I was assigned the topic of Aquaman because I am pretty afraid of deep water. I've always been a terrible swimmer. I
Me
get
too.
really stressed out in the water. I have a hard time breathing. So to look at a hero like Aquaman, that's a legitimate hero to me because this is a being that does things I could never do, even on a standard level, superpowers notwithstanding.
Do I need to toss you guys in the pool?
I mean, I could swim if I needed to.
I
Yeah, but
couldn't. It's a good thing your Patronus is an otter.
We'll just have Jordan save us if we start to drown.
my certification is expired.
So, I don't care. If we're the only one there, I'd rather you do CPR on me than not do it just because you're not certified.
Well, no, I meant my life.
You'd rather she do CPR on you all night long. So, Aquaman was a founding member of the Justice League. What team of heroes came after the Justice League?
The Avengers! Friggin' the Justice League was first, which not everyone knows. Because, obviously Marvel came out with all of their movies and they're going nuts with them.
So, Jordan is revealing that she is a fan of DC.
I'm both. I love Marvel. Like, Marvel makes better movies,
Oh, yeah.
to be fair.
Like, that's why
they make better movies.
Avengers, in one sense, is better than, like, Man of Steel, because
It is better than
the
Man of
Avengers
Steel.
actually try and save human lives, where Superman doesn't seem to.
He's a little preoccupied with the whole...
Yeah, and there's a team of them, but still, they focus on... They didn't level New York.
Not entirely, but they got close.
There
They smashed quite a few buildings.
was a nuke that Iron Man risked his life to stop.
I know, and I'm not saying I have anything against the movies. I love them. I went to that, 6 movies, 1 epic day, like, the big release before the Avengers.
Yeah, you gotta wear like...
I was there with
You
you.
have to wear like an adult diaper, get a catheter.
We had
no,
breaks.
No, they gave you breaks, yeah, after every movie. It was great, but it was a really fun experience. Everyone knows the movie's The Avengers now, and everyone better be super hyped for Age of Ultron. If you're not, I'm not talking to you.
I am.
We already have our tickets.
We do already have
We
our
do have
tickets.
our tickets.
But,
I'm sure this will go up before May 1st.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, actually, April 30th, right? Because it's
Oh, yeah,
Thursday,
that's when we're seeing
so
it, I
it's-
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll go
Whatever.
up before then. For all you future listeners.
But, just real quick quiz. Who were the original Avengers?
Well, Ant-Man,
That was what I was gonna say. Oh,
Too
Stewie, we're
bad.
totally gonna blow our nerd cred right here.
Yeah, probably. But I bet a lot of people...
Start
Okay.
listing. We'll see what happens.
Ant-Man, definitely.
Okay, that's 1.
Ant-Man's wife is like the she's another bug. Wasp? Yeah?
Wasp.
Okay. I have a feeling Captain America
He was the
wasn't-
first of
No.
Only in the Marvel movies.
Dang,
no.
but he's like an essential part of the Avengers, even in the
He's
comics.
huge in the Avengers. However, the original Avengers,
Let's see. What year was the first Avenger comic? That might-
1963,
16,
wow.
September.
Okay.
It was long after the Justice League.
Yeah, it was okay. Well, obviously Stanley, because Stanley and Marvel go hand in hand. But it was Stanley and Jack Kirby
Yeah,
together.
those two.
Jack Kirby actually only illustrated the first 6 issues.
Huh.
But yeah.
I didn't know that.
So who else?
Is Iron Man one of the
Yes.
original?
Okay.
I thought I was
That's 3.
Hulk probably is.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Hulk.
Okay.
Okay, one more for the original, and then I'll tell you about Captain America.
One more for the original. Is it someone in the movies?
I can't give you hints. You need to know this.
Okay.
Doctor Strange.
No.
Good guess.
Good guess, though.
I don't think it was Thor. She's not giving me anything.
No, it was Thor.
It's
It was
Thor.
Thor.
It was Thor?
The original Avengers consisted of Iron Man, Ant-Man, the Wasp, Thor, and the Hulk. Captain America came in issue number 4. That's what they pulled him out of ice.
So they kept that
So-
storyline.
So, yes, he was kind of one of the original Avengers, but not the initial original. Sort of like in Young Justice, how there's like the first 3 kids and then they add in Superboy. Anyway.
We're just making cross references all over the place.
I know, I can't help it. I really like that show, and I'm really sad it was canceled.
I'm excited for the Ant-Man movie.
Yes. Paul Rudd.
Looks like it'll be a similar kind of comedy to Guardians of the Galaxy.
I really loved Paul Rudd as Leslie Knope's electoral
Yeah,
opponent.
he was
Parks and Rec.
He was kind of a good guy, but he was
But he
dumb.
was just dumb and hapless.
Yeah, that was funny. Good show.
An heir to a fortune. I really hope his Ant-Man character is like that. Dumb, hapless,
No,
and running against Leslie Knope for public office.
I don't, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, well, I was going to ask, why did the original Avengers get together? Why did they become the Avengers?
Some world-affecting threat.
They wanted to
Not
start a
happy.
rock band.
I mean, other than for
Was
money for DC
S.H.I.E.L.D.
for
behind
Marvel,
it?
No.
Oh.
Other than for money for Marvel Comics, it's actually...
Ant-Man was the leader behind it, right?
It's who's the villain? Who brings them together?
Oh, who? Ultron's one of their big villains, but I don't think they're first. Thanos is another one, but again, don't think they're
He came
first. Couldn't be Loki like in the movies.
Yes, it's
It was
Loki.
Loki! Loki
Really?
was seeking
Dude,
revenge
that is-
against Thor. And so he tricks the Hulk into destroying a railroad and sends out a distress call, except he sends it to, he diverts a stress call to different people, and really he was, trying to get Thor to try to face off with the Hulk, but all the other Avengers picked up on it and showed up, and that's why they all got together.
Wow.
It was fucking Loki, again.
I'm surprised how much the
Movie.
movie kind of does take from these comics.
Well, and just, with how they're probably, I hope, going to be doing the Marvel Avengers movies, there's, rotating different...
Yeah, rotating
Avengers.
roster.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Just I was gonna say, in reference to Guardians of the Galaxy, Yondu was actually an Avenger at some point.
What?
Even though he's kind of a semi-villain in
In the film.
the movie.
Wow.
But he
Yondu
was also the
is
leader
an
of the
Avenger.
Guardians of the Galaxy in the comics.
Yes, he is. And
He has a huge
the
red
movies
mohawk.
kind of went a little odd with that.
They had to give Chris Pratt the starring role. Because
They had to.
But yeah, I
Because
just...
again, all Avengers topics lead back to Parks and Recreation.
Yep. And when we get to the letter P on this podcast...
I was just gonna say actor's named Chris, but...
Oh yeah, Chris
Chris.
Hemsworth,
Chris Evans, Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Star Trek has Chris Pine.
Yeah.
That's not related.
That's not related at all.
But J.J. Abrams is directing Star Trek.
Speaking
And
of...
Star Wars. Star Wars is owned by Disney, as is Avengers. Bam, that's how it's
all
related.
connected.
Nice
All
job.
connected.
Wow. Speaking of Star Trek, if you're on our site listening to our podcast, you may also notice our blogs. I will be writing a blog called What the Trek, in which I review every single Star Trek episode at my own risk. Alright, back to the Avengers.
Well, I was just gonna say that I just wanted to really go over, the origins of the Avengers, because
I'm really curious.
I think, well, no, that is the origin. I just find it really interesting that they actually had so much interconnected, very similar sort of stuff with the movies. I'm
Right.
actually really happy that they did that.
Yeah.
Good job, Marvel.
I think a lot of older fans are probably pleased that a lot of the source material was applied.
Stayed true, yeah. And That's mostly what I wanted to discuss.
The Avengers, of
Well,
course,
Avengers.
is an
But
action movie.
I was going to say The
I was
Avengers
gonna say
is
that.
probably one of the best action movies of the 2010s so far.
First, like,
I mean,
Yeah, it is.
well, you
Well,
didn't give
is
me
it?
a chance to segue.
Alright,
Ah, fine.
you get one chance. One chance.
Do not miss your
One
chance to
One
blow.
chance.
Don't fall off your segue. Do not fall off your segue.
Whoa,
Segues
the
require-
segue's going fast. Well, I was gonna say something similar. So, Avengers is an action movie, but there's...
You fell off the segue.
Yeah, I fell off
fell
the
off the segue.
segue. It's okay.
Crash.
Aquaman, if it was ever made into a movie, which it probably... It may be eventually.
It is.
He's gonna be
It
in
is.
Batman v
in
Superman.
development.
It's in the works, just like Wonder Woman movie. Wonder Woman movie! Yeah!
I mean,
Sorry.
it's in the works for like a few years from now. We'll see if it happens.
It's gonna happen.
Point is, all these superhero movies are examples
Pretty
of
sure they
action
casted
movies.
Khal Drogo, right?
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually really, really like that. The Pacific Islander being Aquaman, that's really fitting to me.
They
Anyway.
should have done Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
No, he's overrated. He's so overrated.
No, he's not that great an actor.
Overrated.
But Dwayne The Rock Johnson is in a lot of popular action movies, such as the Fast and Furious series. Scorpion King could be called an action movie. The action movie is such a broad topic, it kind of encompasses
I mean,
so many movies.
He likes to pick bad sequel action movies like Journey to the Center of the Earth 2 and
I was
G.I.
in that.
Joe 2.
I was in that.
I mean, that's another thing action movies have, a lot of sequels. But I was wondering if you guys can tell me, what would you define as an action movie?
Ooh.
I'd say there is always a hero and a villain. I think that's probably the main part
Clear
for an
hero
action movie.
and villain.
There's always, well, no, because there's some blurred lines in there. I'd say some people are like but they're like spies, and you know sometimes you can see a spy as a villain. But there's
And
always
there's like Jason Bourne's a spy.
yeah, but there's always protagonist, antagonist, and the protagonist almost always wins. But
that's
an
just
action
stories
movie,
in general.
there has to be fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I cannot see an action movie without
Without fighting.
with some sort of fighting, either like shooting phasers or lasers at people, like back and forth, like that kind of battle,
Physical
or like
altercations.
physical altercations. Yep, there has to be some sort of conflict of actual like fighting, and obviously, why else would guys love action movies so much if there weren't explosions? There better be a damn explosion in there.
I wonder if there are action movies without explosions. I'm sure there
I'd
is.
be really disappointed.
Maybe
if
some
there
like
were.
kung fu movies.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Those
There's-
are action.
But they probably have some kind of explosion.
Pyrotechnics.
Like
Like an explosion of combat.
Oh,
Fists flying.
yeah.
Nice.
I was gonna say like a lantern bursting or bales of
Yeah,
hay.
They might not have that. Like, I haven't seen The Raid, but I've heard it's good. But it's basically just... I mean, I guess there's gunshots.
You haven't seen The Raid?
Yeah.
Listeners, The Raid and The Raid 2 Redemption are the best action movies, period, and Stewie has failed you all by not seeing them. Alright, continue.
So have I.
But are there explosions in that? Because I feel like, from what I've seen, it's just one guy, like, battling his way up an apartment
there
building.
are explosions of breaking faces.
So, yeah, no
If you-
explosions.
If you could count the fractured bones.
No.
No, okay.
Just real quick, we do have a dog, so if you hear that random jingling, that's his collar. Sorry.
He's our mascot.
Yeah.
But, so I looked up on Merriam-Webster, and they define an action movie as a hero that faces challenges that typically include physical feats, extended fight scenes, violence, and frantic chases.
Frantic Chases.
Ah,
Band name
that's
called it, done.
Well, sorry, listeners, you can't use that name. I mean, they can, because it's not like he has it copyrighted or anything.
Yeah,
I
you gotta-
dibsed it. I dibsed it.
Oh,
That's
he
like
dibsed
the
it.
shotgun rule.
I guess we do have evidence of that. Fair. So, now that we know what action movies are defined as, and we know it's such a broad over, like 90% of the movies out there are action movies. Bit of an exaggeration for effect. A hyperbole, if you will.
I'd say
What's your
like
favorite?
90% of our movies are action
Yeah,
movies.
90% of our movies are action movies. What's your guys' favorite action movie?
Die Hard.
I probably knew that for you.
Yeah, you did.
That is classic.
That is a
That's
classic.
a classic.
Bruce Willis. I mean, I can also go for, it's Mel Gibson. I can't remember.
Lethal Weapon?
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I like Lethal
I can do
Weapon.
some of that. I like the older ones. They're pretty good. Bond.
I prefer the Lethal Weapon sequel that they made in It's Always Sunny.
I don't know if I saw that one.
Oh, it's a fantastic episode.
Uh,
It's highly inappropriate.
you watched all of It's Sunny, I thought.
No, I stopped for like the last 2 seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite, maybe like The Matrix. I kind of like really the fight scenes in The Matrix too, even though the movie itself isn't that great. I don't know if it's awful.
It's awful.
I haven't seen it in a while.
The fight scenes are really entertaining.
I mean, that whole long fight sequence on the highway and like Neo's flying over there.
Oh, that is such a
I was on
cool
the edge of my
process.
seat the entire time.
Yeah.
That's thrilling. Keanu Reeves is actually a fantastic human being.
Yeah,
Everybody bashes on
I was like,
Keanu's.
oh, sad Keanu.
Yeah.
Well, he has a reason to be sad, for starters.
He's had a lot of tragedy in his life,
he
and
also
picked
does a
himself
lot of
back
good.
up. And he's a big time philanthropist. He
Yeah.
gives away most of his money.
Mm-hmm.
Keanu Reeves is the ultimate action movie star.
Ooh.
John
That's
Wick.
definitely
I haven't seen
debatable.
John Wick, but I've heard that's good, and he's
That's
like
super
a
debatable.
one-man army in
Are
that.
you gonna say Bruce Willis?
No. If you watch Mojo, they picked their number one guy, I believe, to be Sylvester Stallone.
No. Okay.
And then
Can't
there's-
understand a word he's saying.
That's why he's the perfect action movie
I'm
star.
sure.
Wait.
But what about Arnold
Or-
Schwarzenegger?
Can't understand a thing he's saying.
Personally, I
back.
do love Bruce Willis, but he's not like the biggest action star because he also does some other things. Like I love The Kid. That's a great movie. I don't know if either of you
Yeah.
have seen that.
I think I did a while
But
ago.
like action movies in general, I want to see an action movie with a chick that's the lead.
Kill Bill.
I have seen Kill Bill, but
Kill Bill
I mean,
2.
it's all about her revenge against a guy sort of thing. But like I want an action movie where, feminism, freaking women. Anyway,
Where a woman's the lead and she's not doing it.
just because of some wrongdoing
I mean,
via a guy.
To be fair, she's not doing it because she loves the guy.
Yeah, which I appreciate, but I mean,
And now, if she was doing it for love, then it would be
then I'd just be really upset.
questionable. Okay. Catwoman, which was
Just
terrible.
awful, and also because of
And
a man.
also revenge because they killed her.
I'm just
Quotes.
I'm just
I did air
spitballing.
Well,
quotes.
I mean, I guess the villain in that is actually a woman, but she thinks it's a guy.
Yeah.
So there's that.
When they make the Wonder Woman movie.
It'll still be about men.
This is really bad.
Black Widow's a great hero, but she doesn't have her own movie.
No, but fun fact, Black Widow supposedly is worthy, and she can actually pick up Mjolnir.
Meow meow?
Yeah.
Meow meow.
Yeah.
Meow meow!
According to the comics, she is worthy, because it's whoever is worthy, or if he be worthy, can possess the power of Thor, sort of thing. That Black Widow is worthy, even though she has so much red in her ledger, according to the movies. Like,
Communism.
yes.
Hey!
Fun for the
Nice.
whole family.
Nice. No, that's incest.
Alright, well,
I can't think of
Yeah.
a female lead action movie.
Yeah.
I'm even checking.
Uh,
I'm looking at
Hollywood,
movies.
I am challenging you. Female action movie where it's not because of a guy and a wrongdoing.
Like, basically the same type of action movie like Die Hard, but just a female as the lead.
I would like to see that.
Kicking terrorists, but
Yeah.
Listeners, leave a comment or
if we failed and
talk on
forgot
our Facebook
one,
page.
yeah.
Yeah,
Let us
tell us.
know. We can bring it up in our next show. This is something that's going to become interactive. Right now, it's a small operation, but we would love to have interaction with our
This is
listeners.
episode number 1.
This is episode 1.
Oh gosh, episode 1, the Phantom Podcast.
The Phantom
Oh,
Pod.
God, no.
Episode
Let's
1.
not call it that.
Podcast begins.
I'm trying to think. I can only think of sequel titles. I can't think of originals. Podcast 1, the motion picture.
Excellent
there
Adventure.
we go. Podcast 1, the
Raiders
excellent...
of the Lost Podcast.
Raiders of the Lost Podcast.
Podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Okay, A New Hope. Podcast A New Hope. Well, now that we...
I mean, originally it was just called Star Wars.
A new podcast.
Yeah, it was originally called Star Wars. But now that you've warmed your brains up on action movies, I got a bit of a quiz for you guys.
Okay.
Quiz.
This
A
quiz...
It's time to have a quiz with Stewie.
Ooh, cute. Work on that.
This is going to be a statement I made up from the movie villain's perspective.
Okay.
It'll get more obvious as I read the paragraph, and you have to try to figure out what the movie is, and for a bonus point, who the villain is.
So not the actor who played them, but the villain.
Not the actor, just the villain.
So this is not an actual quote. This is a statement that.
A statement I made up.
Okay.
It'll get more obvious. When you know, buzz in.
How do you buzz in? What,
Make up a buzzing noise. Kevin, what's your buzzing noise? Okay, Jordan? Okay. Whoever buzzes in first will get to answer. And if you answer incorrectly, you can't answer again, even if you figure it out later.
Oh, God damn it.
So that's
Really good
there
at
has to be
that.
some penalty. You can't just guess every
I
movie.
guess.
So number 1. It was the perfect plan. All we had to do was play the part of terrorist. Hold the employees hostage with our bogus terrorist story while we steal hundreds of millions of dollars in... Jordan.
It's in Die Hard.
It is Die Hard.
It's, oh God. He's German. I can't remember his fucking name.
Not
Hans
Severus
Gruber.
Snape, but
Nice
Hans
job,
Gruber.
Kevin. We'll share that. Share the
You
win.
each get a point because he got Hans, you got Die
Yeah.
Hard.
Sorry, I didn't buzz in.
No,
That's
it's good.
fine.
That's fine.
So hundreds of millions of dollars in bearers bonds. We secured the Nakatomi building, and everything was going great until that meddlesome New York cop got
As soon
involved.
as he was like, you have to pretend to be terrorists, I was like, fucking
Yeah.
Die Hard.
I figured you'd get
I
that.
know you did.
Because till that meddlesome New York cop got involved, what was he doing in L.A. anyways? He ruined my plan, on Christmas even.
And what does yippee-ki-yay mean?
Yeah.
That would
Yippee-ki-
be.
Yeah, that would be too
Yippee-ki-yay,
obvious.
motherfucker.
Alright, number
It's
2.
a perfect Christmas movie.
It is.
Yes.
The second one, not as much.
You know what's an awful Christmassy movie? Iron Man 3. Anyway, I didn't understand why it came out in like Mayish and it was set in like Christmas. I really didn't like that. Anyway.
Number 2. I was sent to find my target and eliminate him. He is only a child. How hard could it be? After being sent back in time, I decided to impersonate...
Terminator 2.
There you go. What's the subtitle to that title?
Rise of the Machines.
Incorrect.
Judgment Day.
There you go. Terminator 2 Judgment
Okay.
Day.
Fucking put
Listeners, I am ashamed.
Yeah, because
I'm hanging my head.
the first Terminator, he's not sent to kill a kid. He's sent to kill the mom.
Right.
So what's the villain?
Silver Terminator who can change shapes.
Here, maybe if I read more, you'll figure out the name as I go.
No.
I think you will, based on...
Okay.
After being sent back in time, I decided to impersonate an officer of the law. I wasn't the only one sent back, however, as a defunct T-800 reprogrammed by the humans was there as well to stop me.
T-900? Like, fucking...
Close.
T-1000.
T-1000.
Ah, good job, Evan.
No points for that. T-1000, though.
That's okay.
But I'll give
Kevin's
you Terminator 2 Judgment Day, even though...
Even though I said the wrong.
Warbled.
Yeah.
Alright, number 3. I thought it would be glamorous taking a mission on a faraway planet, even if the air is toxic for us humans. We even established contact with the natives, and everything was going fine until that paraplegic Marine got involved. He started...
Avatar.
Avatar, correct. And what is the villain's name? I did not know this, so I'll be impressed if one of you guys do.
Man. He's some...
He's a businessman.
He's a washed out old military guy working
Right.
for a corporation,
Right.
ravaging a planet for resources.
Raping a planet. Raping.
George Bush.
Heyo, political humor, no. Colonel Miles Quaritch.
Fuck no.
Quaritch.
I
don't
would
know.
not have known
Yeah,
that.
see, I didn't know
Did
that.
they mention his name in the
I
film?
think they do. After I read it, I was like, oh yeah, that kind of sounds familiar.
That sounds vaguely
I
familiar.
feel like I remember Sigourney Weaver saying that.
Oh.
I remember Sigourney Weaver saying that.
Another great action-y movie. Aliens. Sigourney
Yeah,
Weaver.
Aliens! Sigourney Weaver's an action female, and
There
she's...
we go.
We found one!
Yeah, but I did it, not you guys.
You found one. There you go. So there we go. There's one.
We need to have female guests on more often.
I guess.
Vaginas. Anyway.
So the rest of that quote, established contact with native, paraplegic Marine got involved. He started fraternizing with the giant blue natives, keeping us from getting the sweet unobtainium. So I blew up their tree. That pissed them off.
Pissed me off.
Yeah.
Love that tree. She was just like a tree to me.
Anywho.
Number 4. Do you ever have to deal with that one agent who fails a mission? I had one failed his assassination attempt, and then he was beating up police in Germany. We didn't take failure at Treadstone lightly.
Oh, okay. It's the Jason Bourne movies. Well, I couldn't tell you which one. I have them all mended together. What?
What's the first one called?
Bourne Identity.
Yes. Do you know the...
Villain.
This was another one I didn't really know. Then I
I
read it and was
know
like, oh, I remember
do
them
know
saying
it,
it.
but I can't. It's, oh god. He's also a military guy, but I couldn't tell you.
CIA.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
I don't.
Alexander Conklin.
Ah.
I remember Conklin.
Also, really great movies. Highly recommend.
Yes. So the rest of that, don't take failure at Treadstone lightly. So I send 3 agents to go deal with the rogue CIA agent, and they end up chasing him all over Europe. I clean up the assassination mess, and next thing I know, this amnesiac agent has me at gunpoint while he's remembering his past. I escape that encounter with my life, only to be killed by another agent to end Treadstone and start Blackbriar.
Nice job.
Yeah. And last, but certainly not least, number 5.
Number 5.
I'm a genius inventor, if I'm being modest, who only wanted to be a hero.
The Incredibles?
Yes!
Damn!
Nicely done!
Damn! That was good!
What's his name?
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Either one of his names. His
Oh no!
hero, quote-unquote name,
Which
or
is not
his
really
real
fair.
name.
Oh no!
I know his hero name.
Oh no, I do too!
I just can't
Hint!
think of it.
I'm
Hint!
surprised you got that.
Ah.
That was quick. Good job.
He wears the first letter of it on his
I
body.
mean, it's like an M, isn't it? No, it's an S. It's... Oh, no. No, it's a...
I am blank, and I'm your enemy. And he throws T.
Bravo.
I want that movie back.
I know.
Okay.
We're on the wrong letter.
Oh, okay.
Won't be at T for a few weeks.
Oh no.
Alright.
Syndrome.
Syndrome!
Do you remember his name?
No.
Buddy.
Oh.
Buddy Pine, it said online. I don't remember hearing Pine at all, but I remember
I just
Mr.
remember
Incredible calling him
Go
Buddy.
home, kid.
Go home, Buddy.
Whatever.
Says Buddy.
Does he really?
Yep.
Okay, see what I would have thought it was just like one of those go home, buddy. Like, hey bud, what's up sort of thing. It's not a your name is Buddy. So there's that.
His name is Buddy.
There's not a lot of buddies.
Not a lot of buddies.
No.
So the rest of that is genius inventor, being modest, who only wanted to be a hero. I donned a cape and was willing to be my favorite hero's sidekick, but he snubbed me. I devoted my life to becoming a better hero than him. And when I thought I could show the world my heroic capabilities, my quote-unquote hero and his family saved the day. Naturally, I wanted revenge, but their baby was more than I could handle. In the end, my fashion was the death of me.
It's Jack! Sorry. I was trying to
great,
speak like
yeah.
Kari. Because Kari has this weird, like, thing. And she... yeah.
That was
Anyway.
a good Kari.
I know, and I love that her name is Kari, because we have a friend, Kari. Good name, people.
We do have a friend named Kari. And I think it's spelled the same name because she quotes that.
K-A-R-I.
Yeah.
Kari.
Wow.
So I don't know who won because I wasn't really keeping score.
Kevin.
I think we
Kevin
all
won.
won.
Well,
We're
I
all
think-
winners here today.
The listeners are the real winners.
Aww.
So corny.
That was great.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was podcast number 1A. Not 1A. Like, we're not going to have a 1B, but number 1, period. A.
The letter.
Tune in for podcast
Because
2, period,
B. Wait, what was 2A?
Alphabetcha.
Oh, wait, there
Oh,
isn't.
then-
No, yeah.
there
No, yeah.
isn't.
Okay.
Attack of the podcast.
Attack of the podcast.
Oh, nope, we're done that.
Podcast harder.
Podcast 2, The Redemption.
Podcast 2 Resurrection.
That's it. That's all the sequel names we've got for
The
you.
Lost World.
Okay, The Lost World.
The Podcast Strikes Back.
Well, that doesn't really...
Podcast Age of
Since
Ultron.
that's number 5, that can't be 2.
Temple of Podcast?
Temple of Podcasts.
Temple
Or Podcast of Doom. Either way.
Podcast of Doom.
Anyways, thank you for listening to Alphabetcha Didn't Know. I'm KB.
I'm Stewie.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Alphabetcha Didn't Know, the letter A. If you'd like to learn more about us, go to www.stationnerd.wordpress.com. That's nerd spelled N3RD, so station N3RD.wordpress.com. Or you can find us on Facebook. Catch you next time.